Hello, good evening. How the devil are you? 25 degrees where I am. No air conditioning either in this office, so a little bit hot. But that's all right because for you women who don't like your short arm t shirts, I have decided to put this today only, half price. And it's so sparkly. So in the sun, it's bloody marvelous. Let me just show you. If I Where can I move? I can move this to the side. There you go. So let me show you how wonderful it is. You see that? Possibly. Anyway, whether you can or not, it's no business of mine. So let's talk about some of the responses to the Supreme Court. I have had communication from councils. There is a rumor, I'm told, that one of the councils in London is going to do a whole council motion. Breaking news, everyone! Breaking news! A whole council motion to go against the Supreme Court. I've got lots of letters, all around the same sort of theme, which is, I shall tell you. I think it was on this one. It's like, oh, we care so much. Do you remember how everyone did that about women? You know, when women start speaking up, and then all the councils and all the hospital healthcare trusts and so on said, we must let you all know, you lovely women, that we care about you. So would be things like, we will be reviewing the guidance. Now, let me just preface this by saying it might be that they're not really reviewing the guidance at all. They know exactly what they're going to do, but they're just trying to stave off loads of complaints from pervy blokes who are worried that they can no longer.
I use public toilets and I piss on the seat.
So those blokes, or worried that some patient at work is going to say, he's a man! Anyway, so this is what councils are sending out to their staff. Now, these are not public statements, these are internal statements. Right? These are internal. And some of the women that have sent them to me have set up their own email address so that they cannot be traced at all because they're so frightened of what's going to happen to them in their jobs. The protected characteristic of sex, woman and man referring to biological sex. It's important to reiterate that this ruling does not diminish or remove legal protections from discrimination that transgender people have under the Equality Act. I'll say it again. That's why it needs to go. The Supreme Court's decision is significant, but too soon to fully understand the implications. Well, can I just say to those councils, all you have to do is go to about 2009 and have a look at what sort of guidance you had then for men and women and the protections you have for women. Just go back to that and you'll be fine. It'll be exactly that. The Equality and Human Rights Commission published an interim update last week and will be publishing full guidance in due course, so they'll be doing that. Again, another organisation I think is a shocking waste of money and time. However, we can reassure all our staff that our values and commitment to inclusion and supporting a diverse workforce will not change. I think it should. We will continue to work with our staff networks. Far too much power. Why are their staff networks advising people on legislation, law, and guidance? It's mad. It's totally mad. And every single one of you that belongs to one of these networks, I'm afraid you're not helping. You're just fueling this. And I get it that you have to belong in order to change from the inside, but we really do need some grown-ups back in the room. It's people that spent too long at university. I'm sorry to say this, people, because I went to uni. I really did. But it's people that spent too long at university thinking that they're important and that they need to have something to say and they need to sit around having a chat about what this means. What does it mean that a woman is a woman? Well, the same as it fucking did when you were 3, love. We will continue to work with staff networks. We recognise the judgment is controversial. Not living in the real world, are we? And that people have different perspectives and views. Despite that, we know that colleagues will continue to treat each other with dignity and respect. Yeah, just not in the women's changing rooms. Please do take care to think about your colleagues who might be impacted. What, women? Shit scared women. Anyway, it's very similar. And then we've seen the British Medical Association coming out with something. We're going to do a Let Women Speak outside of the AGM of both the nursing and the GMC. So please come to that. It's really, really important because up and down the country in those councils, and I know quite a few people who work in councils who hate the LGBT shit. And I do mean all of it. I'm sorry to say that. But most of us are pretty tolerant, and like most people don't care if you're a lesbian or if you're gay. They just don't. And if they do, I'm interferes with their work, then there's right. But most people really, really don't care if you're a lesbian or if you're gay, if you are if you enjoy oral sex, or if you eat eggs on a Friday. Most people go to work just to earn a wage and get through their day. They're not looking to get busy and impact your life at all. They don't care. And they certainly don't care about any of that. They do care, however, if you expect them. If you're a man who calls himself a woman or a woman who calls herself a man, they do care if you bring that to work and expect anyone else to give a shit about it, because they genuinely don't care. Most people now don't want to hear less about everyone's sexuality because they feel it's been rammed down their throats. And I do mean all. It's just we don't care. Right? It's just like you don't care about whatever I want to say about my husband. You're not really here to hear some tales about my husband or what I like for dinner. That's not why you're here. That's not why people go to work. They don't go to work to find out even if you're married or if you've got kids. They don't care if it was your child's second birthday either. They don't care about that. They don't care whether you have children or not, as long as you don't as long as that doesn't impact them, and then every Christmas Eve they're expected to work because they don't have children. Most people don't care. I think I've made myself clear. I'm gonna just move this to underneath so that you can be okay. So standing for women, Let Women Speak is gonna do quite a few events so that we can talk about these things, because we're all pig sick of it. Let's change that to red. That's better, isn't it? We're all absolutely sick and tired of all of it, actually. So we're going to go and Let Women Speak isn't protest. We're not a man. We don't walk around with a sandwich board trying to start fights. We don't do that. We don't run into the groups. What we do is we say, right, we're going to speak here. And then we let people speak. That's why we've called it Let Women Speak. So let's have a look at some of the more, how can you say it and not say a bad word? Let's have a look at some of the insane responses from some of our people, some of our best in the House of Commons and so on. So, we'll start with Head Girl. Here she is. Look, let's make that okay.
If it emerges that the consequences of that ruling and the
Can you hear it? Okay, yeah.
consequences of the EHRC guidance is that it fails to protect trans, non-binary and intersex people's.
But how could that be? Because we women were told that their rights don't impact our rights. I mean, it's not a pie. Saying that men can't come into women-only spaces, why would that impact anyone? It's just preposterous. Unless, obviously, they all want to be in our spaces all the damn time, which, quite frankly, that is how it seems.
Basic human rights, then I will not hesitate to push for a change in the law.
Wow, she won't. She will not hesitate to push for a change in the law that says men can come in.
But let's zoom out for just a moment. While we are debating, I really wish we weren't, while we are debating who's meant to use which toilet, which, by the way, trans people have been getting on with perfectly harmlessly for decades.
They haven't. That's a lie. That's not true. That's a complete and utter lie. That's a lie. Just basically a lie. And actually, women have been bothered by men in those spaces. I remember one at university, everyone thought he was a pervert. Okay, so it's not harmless. Number two, when she's saying, she's very careful about this. She says, while we were debating who can use which toilet, what she really means is who can use a women's toilet, right?
What are we not talking about? We're not talking about the challenges that women are facing in this country with massive NHS waiting lists.
Who? Who in this country? Because if anyone can be a woman, that's everyone, right? So everyone with massive NHS waiting lists.
Struggling to access the gynae care they need. We're not talking about the mothers who are skipping meals.
Also, didn't she forget men who need gynecology appointments, didn't she? The mothers. So who's a mother? What's a mother? Is a mother a female parent? If so, what's a female? How do we know who a mother is?
In order to feed their children. There are a lot of issues that I would prefer to be spending my time on that actually deal with issues that women are facing every day.
But you don't know what women are. So that would seem to be a little bit crazy. Now, on to the next woman. Let me just make sure you can see her. Our good friend, Nadia Whittam.
What I'm very concerned about is the impact that this judgment, and particularly the discussion following the judgment and the interpretation of the judgment, will have on trans people.
What I'm really worried about is the implication of the judgment and what it has on a man's right to wank in a woman's only toilet. That's what I'm worried about with the judgment.
This is a group of people, a tiny percentage of the population, who are already demonised and dehumanised by large parts of the media and politicians.
By calling them men. You know, these people are really demonised by calling them men. And what I'm worried about for them is that when we're talking about a rapist, that we call them a rapist. And I'd like to not call them a rapist because that demonises and demeans the rapist. So I would just like to not do that.
And what trans people are saying to me is that
you don't deserve any rights because you're a woman.
Look, put yourself in our shoes.
And I said, actually, I can't because your shoes are fucking massive. Actually, so there's no way I can really put my feet in your shoes. I might fall over.
We are now being told by politicians that if we need to use the public toilet, we have two options. So for a trans woman, for example, either you use the men's toilets, which is what they're now being
that's novel, isn't it?
Told, which puts them at risk.
Puts them at risk of male violence, unlike men in women's toilets, which doesn't put anyone at risk of anything. You know, that's why I was so happy to give all of women's rights away.
Of violence, but at the very least means outing themselves.
Yeah, because no one would know. Nobody would know. I'm going to show you some men in a minute. Nobody would know. Remember, it'd be at the very least they would be outing themselves.
Or they use the women's toilets, as they have been, without any problem for decades. But because of the circus...
She means penis.
...surrounding issues of trans rights, they're at greater risk of being harassed by people who have kind of taken it upon themselves to be the gender police.
That's me. Okay, so we've got her. Oh, here's a great one. Now, this woman is a lesson to any woman, especially in Scotland, thinking, could I really go into politics? Am I good enough? And then you can have a look at this woman and you can say, I probably am overqualified.
What is it that led the Supreme Court to hear from certain groups, but not...
What was it that led the Supreme Court to listen to women on an issue of women's rights? What was it that did that? I'm just concerned that on an issue affecting women, that women were asked. You know, what was it?
Not a single trans person. So the Scottish Government and Amnesty, of course, they were making their case, but they are not trans people.
They are not trans people. I don't know what one is, but they are not trans people.
I am disappointed that not a single trans voice was heard.
I'm so disappointed that I kind of look like I might be on an amphetamine when I speak. I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying I might look like that.
In that ruling, and I think we do have to consider that in the round on this.
Let's consider that in the rand, which is my home currency. So this is what we're up against. We're up against these crazy people who are speaking, because I'm really worried about how trans people might feel, men. How will they actually have an erection if we stand in their way? So I don't want to stand in their way. I'm going to show you one of the stunning and brave people who I'm thinking about when I look at the rights of trans people. And when you watch this man, a woman, brave woman, stunning, who would have to out herself because otherwise you wouldn't know, you wouldn't know that they weren't a woman. And I want you to think about this fella, this woman in with your daughter, and why you'd be a bigot and not want them in with your daughter.
Is that we are a threat to their masculinity. They don't like us. With most...
Right. So I think the question is, why don't men like it? Why are men against Dave?
With most men is that we are a threat to their masculinity. They don't like us because we've rejected the masculine side.
Look, Dave, I don't want to disagree with you. I don't know you very well, but I'm just going to say this. They don't like you because you're perverts. And men don't like it. And men have this innate sense. And I know we're not supposed to say this, ladies, because it's very old-fashioned to say something nice about men. But men have this overwhelming urge to protect. And so when they see someone like this, who's just a pervert with fake breasts that kind of stretching his skin, when they see that man, it is not a threat to their masculinity at all. It is not. It is it's an overwhelming threat that they feel that these men pose to society because they're perverts.
And going towards our female side. Now, you can imagine, if I walked into a bathroom looking like this, a men's toilets looking like this, I'm just asking for trouble.
Well, get dressed then, Dave. That's all you have to do. Put a t-shirt on and some trousers. Come out in a short pair of shorts. You don't have to inflict that despicable, vile, grotesque, pervert outfit on women.
It only takes one obnoxious idiot to...
Yeah, which is you, mate, in the women's toilets.
...dislike what I'm doing or what...
What if a woman did that, though?
A woman wouldn't do it. End of. So why should I? So I've just used the female toilets down at Waterloo Station. None of the women batted an eyelid when I walked in there.
No, I would imagine you just passed by. People didn't even notice you were in there. I don't imagine anyone looked and thought, fucking hell, there's a weirdo. I better not say anything unless he punches me in the face. Nobody thought that. In fact, you've probably just blended in with all the other women at Waterloo Station toilets, because they're often in kind of half bras with nipples slightly showing, enormous breast, tiny little top, and a dick.
I've got no problem with going in the ladies' toilets. They've got no problem with me going in there. So I am not going to stop going in.
Dave, I've got a problem with you going in there. My husband would have a problem with you going in there. Most men would have a problem with you going in there. In fact, what a lot of men would like to do is probably beat you up for going in there. So you might have got away with it so far, but don't think that it's harmless or that some harm isn't going to come to you eventually, because I think it will. And can I just say, this video is from Wesley, I think his name is Yang. I'm really sorry. Wesley Winter. Don't know where I got Yang from. Wesley Winter. And I want to say thanks very much, Wesley, because I thought your watermark would show a bit more and everyone would know where I got the video from, because I don't like stealing.
Unless one person, one woman in that toilet turns around to me and says, could you use another toilet? And which
Could you fuck off, Dave? Could you fuck off with your pervy, disgusting outfit and your penis? Could you fuck off, Dave?
case I'll come out and I'll wait till she's done and I'll go back in there and say, anyone else object to me using the lip?
Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else want to fucking go? Anyone else? Brilliant. And let's remind ourselves what sort of men we are genuinely dealing with. Let me... there we go.
I've already had it.
He hasn't had it. Yeah, but I mean, I had it.
She.
I was coughing my guts out for days.
I haven't done it again. Why do I do that?
Don't know.
It's because I fancy you as the other.
Look at everyone. Scared. Everyone's scared about this vile misogynist. Everyone's frightened of him. Because that's how we all feel about these men in our spaces. That's why, Dave, nobody was telling you to stay out of women's toilets. Because, frankly, everyone would be too afraid.
That's twice you've misgendered me. And I know we've
Sorry,
been
what?
great.
When did I misgender you?
Amanda.
I think I did.
She's misgendered me, and the second time she's done it, she just chuckled.
I do apologise.
Well, apology's not enough because
India.
Apologies not enough. Because what I want is complete submission because I'm a nutcase. I know he's not. He's like Geordie, isn't he? He's a nutcase.
Cut my
I'm
head off.
sorry, but you know, I did explain to you how important it was. That is twice you've done it, and you certainly don't misgender someone and then have a chuckle.
India, if it's not deliberate, an apology is always enough. If it's not deliberate.
Let me tell you, Anne, that only I know how I feel. You don't know how I...
Very interesting, isn't it? I don't know why they put this arsehole in this program because it was a women only, wasn't it? But the way these women sort of dance around him, I do find quite interesting. And it's certainly not a way that I would behave around him at all. I think we need to stop pandering completely women.
I feel inside.
We okay?
No, we're not. Okay, I'm gonna say this once. Despite any of these misconceptions and rubbish stories that you read in the press, you know that it's just a lifestyle choice and what have you. It's not. Okay.
It's not. It's a full-on fetish. It's such an extreme fetish that men are willing to cut their penises off to satisfy their extreme fetish.
Okay, I felt extremely trapped. I am the transgender person here, and I am annoyed. It's not acceptable.
Would you like me to leave?
Listen,
Would you?
I'm just explaining
No,
to
I'm
you.
explaining something to you. That was an accident.
I'm sorry. You're being very aggressive here. You've just called me a name in there.
I'm just defending myself.
You're defending yourself.
Can I just remind everyone, Amanda is in her 80s. I think she was either late 70s or early 80s. And no one's stepping in. I know she can hold her own.
Just Ashley, come on. Not Ashley,
Listen.
India. India. You just misnamed. Sorry.
Listen.
Listen. Look, let's all chill.
I can understand why.
I understand why you feel upset.
Look,
and
can I just say something? I don't want to be patronised. I don't want to tap in the head. I am sure there are people in this room now who, when I've been upstairs, said, "Oh, I don't know what all the fuss is about."
Yeah, I would. Oh, in fact, I would have said, "Isn't he a wanker?"
It's no big deal. I'm in here as a woman, okay?
I agree with that.
Not
and
a
I
he,
respect that.
a she,
Nobody's
a woman,
questioning
okay?
that.
I'm a real woman, Amanda. I want you to know that.
Yes,
a
darling.
real woman, okay? I'm glad that's sinking in. I'm going to say it one more time so it really penetrates.
Yeah.
I am a real woman, okay? I've been very open since I've been in
Well,
this
we won't
house
talk about
and
it.
responded to all
let's
questions
not
that
talk
have
about
been
it.
asked.
Let's
not talk
let's
about
not
it.
get into
Prefer
this.
if we
Let's
didn't
just
talk
let's just
Listen,
have our tea
listen.
and forget about it.
Do you know what? I'm going to leave you to it because apparently...
No,
No, listen, I'll tell you
You
what.
can't keep being temperamental.
I'm the one who's been misgendered.
That's what we're talking about. This is mass. This is what we're talking about. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Anyway, this is where we are. It's far from over. We've got a lot of work to do. You're going to have to really stand firm. In fact, you're going to have to expect everybody who's even standing at all to stand firm. Like, mad. No collapsing on language. None of it. None of it. You have to do it right. It's really not acceptable at this stage of the game not to, like, you can't be saying trans-identified at this stage. You can't be talking about protections and protected characteristic for gender reassignment. You can't do that. That in itself is this fucking nebulous concept that they can't be bothered to actually pin down. It's not really about someone. It used to be about someone who's going to get their dick cut off. It's not even about that anymore. It's about anyone who's like wants to wear a skirt to work. This has all got to stop. So I just want you all, like, this is not the time now to sit back and allow some people who are going to compromise to just take over and answer questions and all get together and feel extra special around that table of women with comfortable shoes. This is not the time to do that. And I really am quite afraid that actually we will end up with accommodations for these fucking men. Whereas I actually think we should just take it or scale it right back to fuck all. I don't want them to have any accommodations. I don't want it to be okay for men to walk in front of a classroom full of kids in a skirt. I don't want those things to be okay. I don't care if it's regressive. I'll take regressive stereotypes and so-called sex roles. I'll take those over this bullshit where nobody knows what a man is and what a woman is, and a man can go to work in a skirt because it's wholesome. I'll take sexism any day of the week. I'll take the old-fashioned sexism where somebody opens the door for you and they don't think that you can recognize or how to dry points on an engine. I'll take that over this any day of the week, because at least when we were back then trying to sort men out from talking to our breasts, and now actually you can read the words on my tits. But I'll take that over what we've got right now, which is that women are not even supposed to recognize what a woman is. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Like, there was the protection thing that men feel when they see men like this is the same reason that, like, men would rather fix an engine for you. Like, I can fix stuff, right? I've laid floors, I've fixed boilers, I've fixed engines, I've repaired stuff. I'm good at that sort of thing. I'm a genius. I'm borderline genius. But I don't take the bins down. I could, but I don't. And I do think that there was taking care of women in that way, which may have had a side impact of thinking that women weren't capable. I'll take that. But at least the motivation for a man wanting to fix things and do stuff and whatever is because I think they're predisposed more than women are often to kind of want to spend ages and have an even temperament to fix stuff. But also I think it gave men a purpose. And I'd rather that, even if it makes me feel patronized or condescended or whatever. I'll take that, because I believe that motivation is far less dangerous and pernicious and hateful than the motivation of everyone pretending that a man in a skirt in front of a classroom full of kids is okay, and we're just old-fashioned for thinking clothes matter. So I just want to say I don't think we have to go back to times when women were thought of as stupid and we could only think about little fluffy kittens. Women know your limits. I don't think we need to go back there. But I kind of feel 1980s, early 90s was a much better place for most women. And I'm not talking about some of the laws that didn't come until 1992, like rape in marriage, or property, or, for example, there's an individual tax that came in 1992, I think it was. and some feminists that I really respect and I quite like, they were talking about how that was the day that gave women independence. But do you know what it did? It meant that less women could afford to stay home. Now, my parents couldn't afford to stay home. My mother couldn't afford to stay home. She always worked. They were always like very low income. So they always had to work. But then my friends' mums at my like infant school and my junior school, their mums could stay home because their dads probably earned just a little bit more than my dad. And they had that tax break on that single income that meant the mother could stay home or get like something really little and part-time. And we just don't have that anymore. We don't have those things. And I just think it's a fucking lie to think that every single woman is better off now in this supposed to be enlightened stage than we were, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. I think we were better off before. I know some of you might disagree with me, but often I just speak. And if you want to disagree, I'm more than happy to hear you. And sometimes I change my mind. But it's kind of like whoever decided that we could have all these rights. Right. Icarus, I don't believe in gender. Okay? I don't believe in gender. I believe in sex. I don't believe in gender. I think it's bullshit. I think it's led to all this stuff. I don't believe in gender, let me just say. And I do fucking swear if I so desire. But it's... I can't even remember where I was because that annoyed me so much. But when it comes to what makes women happy, I think it's often our family units. That's where most of our happiness and unhappiness can come from. So I just think that we were given some of these rights, but only so they could take something else from us. They're not like, they didn't come as this sort of package of joy. They came, it's like the breakfast clubs in schools. The reason they're funding breakfast clubs is so women have fewer excuses not to do full-time work. Like, and if you don't know that, if you can't see that, if you think a government is benevolent, then you're a bigger fool than I am. Anyway, I am off to some fancy places in the next few weeks. Do look out for me. If there's any lovely women that are living in Budapest and they would like to meet up, get in touch. We'll have a nice little lunch. Anyway, if you, I was not better off because I became a trans widow in 1986. But it was because his rights then trumped mine. Well, I think his rights would trump yours even more now. Even more now. Oh, look, you probably lost some rights then, but one of the things that women have found in the last 5-10 years is that actually going through custody battles with a man who calls himself a woman, the woman is penalized for not recognizing that man as a woman and not allowing those children to call him mother. So I do think holistically, I do think we're worse off. And actually, it's more hopeless because our rights have been rolled back rather than the constant march of progress. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, if you can... I forgot to do that. If you can stick to what is true and expect everyone else to do the same, I promise we will win. If you can help me help you by getting one of these nice 3/4 sleeve, ladies, 3/4 sleeve, you can't get better than that. And they're a nice round neck. The other ones we used to do were quite wide, but this is unisex. I'm wearing a small and I'm a good size, sort of 8 to 10 on a bad day. But I'm a chunky size 10. So that's a small. So we do an extra small and we go up to 2XL, I think. If you can help me help you, then I promise we will win. And do you know what else we're going to win? Well, it's because I never lose.
They wanna know